y'all, welcome to Scrappin with Sheri. Today I'm going to show you another retro project recipe. This one was from the summertime collection that was probably in 2020, 2021, somewhere around there. But I'm going to be using the Tropic time papers with the summertime project recipe. So I have chosen several papers already. I've pulled a navy cardstock instead of one of the designer papers. I've got two designer papers, one in this teal color, one in this lighter background, but it's got the teal sunshines on it with the orange in the middle. Kind of looks like sunshines to me, probably flowers. And then I've pulled this orange to be my background papers. It's a little busy, but we're going to cover a lot of it up, and I think it'll be okay. There's also a lighter shade of that on the back, but I really like the bold of this with these flowers, sunshines, whatever you want to call them. So let's look at our cutting guide and see what we need to do first. Now, this is the look that we're going toward, but remember, project recipes can be used with any papers. So I'm looking at these two specifically that I'm going to cut, and then this navy. Now, this navy is going to be this right here for me because these are most of my photo mats, and I like the solid color photo mats. So I know that one is going that way. And as far as these are concerned, I want a lot of this to show. So I'm going to make that my two green pieces on here. And it tells me right here how to cut those. So let me slide my background and my cardstock aside. And according to my cutting guide, all I have to do on here is cut these two pieces 6 by 11. And then I'm going to cut 2 1/2-inch pieces out of that bottom. So this is going to be the big one that shows. I'm going to have to extend the arm on my trimmer to get to the 6-inch mark. But I'm cutting that at 6. And then both of those I'm going to cut 1 inch off, but it's actually going to be 2 1/2 inches. So rather than trying to cut a tiny little strip, I'm just going to cut a 1/2 inch and then cut another 1/2 inch. So there's my 1/2 inch. That's the first line towards the right side of your trimmer. And then another 1/2 inch. And that paper is completely cut. I'm just going to lay that to the top here. And we're going to cut this to be these pieces right here. Now, you'll notice on here the blue is going up and down here and sideways here. So if you choose a directional print for this, it may be a little more difficult to make it work out. But I didn't choose a directional print, so this is going to work fine for me. Now let's start with our top cut. And our top cut is going to be 12 by 5. So I'm just going to line this up at my 5-inch and cut. And then we've got a 3 by 7 and a 9 by 7. This should be our 7 inches. So we need 3. And once we cut that 3 off, we're left with 9. So we've got all those cuts made. Now let's go back and look at our navy. That's what I'm using in place of this orange color right here. And it says to punch 2 borders. So I'm going to do my punching first, which will allow me to have most of my paper in the border maker system to hold it more easily. So I'm opening up the border maker system and sliding this navy cardstock in. And I'm going to use the sailboat border for this. Now there is no navy in the papers I have chosen, but I feel like it'll be a very good complementary color that will really stand out. And I'm using the little sailboat cartridges just because this has a tropically feel, and I think the sailboats will be pretty with that. Now, you'll notice the sailboats are one of those cartridges that does not come off of your paper. So once I punch it, I've also got to cut it off. And I want to make sure when I cut it that I cut those the same width. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and flip this to the other side of my paper and do my other punching, because then I can put my border maker system away. I try to do like things first, like I do all of my cutting first, then I try to do all of my punching. get all the punching out of the way so I can clean it up and move it away. Let's just scoop all these scraps off. And then to cut this, I'm just gonna leave just a tiny little piece down here. I'm not gonna leave very much. So in trying to put my sailboats to a specific line so I can make both of them the same, I'm gonna go with the tallest sailboat at about the 1 inch mark. That doesn't give me a lot of border along the bottom, but I don't really want a lot anyway. You'll notice my papers are kind of sticking in the groove here. That's because I have used this mat, and I'm trying really hard to get everything out of it I can before I flip it to the number 2. But you can see the papers are kind of hanging in there, and that's a hint that you about need a new mat. All right, so we've done our 2 cut the borders and cut. So let's see what else we've got here. These are 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and that leaves us 6 by 4s. So let's cut off our 3 3/4. And with that, we're making squares. So let's go back and go ahead and cut those squares. Three and 3/4, 3 3/4, and 3 3/4. That's going to leave us a tiny little piece left over. You could use it or you can discard it. And then we're left with the 6 inch width, hopefully. Now, you know, I had to cut my borders off, so I may be a little different on that. Right at 6 inches. And these are cut down to 6 by 4. And that allows us 3 mats on this 12 inch piece. All right, so we know those are gonna be mats. We know the border stuff is gonna be added a little bit later. So I'm gonna scoot those over to the side. And we're ready to start putting this page together. Now, I do love it when you can get all your cuts done quickly, and then you can start putting it together to see how beautiful it's going to look. And I just kind of look at my picture, and sometimes I don't even like the way the picture is, so I move them around a little bit. But we're going to start with our larger pieces, and I wanted those to kind of be the star because I love those colors. Those are going here. We're gonna have one of these right here, and it's overlapping that just a little bit, but look how pretty that brings out all that teal we've got going on over here. And then we're going to put this over here. And I'm gonna leave a pretty good size border right here along the bottom of that. When I say border, I'm talking this right here. Oh, I was not seeing this. I wasn't even sure where this piece belonged. But what they did was use it right here. Now, I don't love the way this looks with all of my other stuff, so I'm going to leave this piece off. And it's okay. You can do that. Now, we've still got these little pieces here. And the directions show flipping it over and using the back side of that. I don't want to do that either. I want to keep the sunshine look there if I even use this. And I'm not even sure I will, and I'll show you why. And it shows it here and here. Now, you could stop right there. If you don't have the border maker system, you're done here. I mean, this is a pretty look. It's finished. Cute. You could also use stickers for these pieces right here. But that's where they have suggested putting your borders that you made. And these will be cut off, obviously. But I really like the sailboat there. Would I necessarily want a sailboat here? Probably not. So I think I might just leave that as is. And then maybe put one more sailboat right over there. So let's go ahead and cut these down and see what we're going to do. If you made a border that was straight top and bottom, equal size, whatever, you could overlap it onto this print. But I don't really want to cover up that print. Now, I'm going to cut this, and then I'm going to decide exactly what I want to do with it. So let's look at how long this is to start with. That's a 6-inch piece. So let's just cut our sailboats into 6-inch pieces and go from there. Remember, I tell you all the time, it's just paper. If you mess it up, you can either cut more or you can leave it off, or You can embellish it. There are just so many options when it's paper. I do love the way these sailboats look against that orange background too. What beautiful color contrast we've got going there. All right, so let's go ahead and start taping all of this down. And I'm going to use my regular tape runner with this. And I'm just going to center this in my space I've got going. Now, I'm eyeballing this, but if you wanted to pull out your 13-inch mats and make it exactly, you could. And I tell y'all, I'm eyeballing this, but boy, my contacts are giving me fits today. I feel like you can't hardly see. So, who knows if it's going to end up centered or crooked or whatever. But you know what? I'll love it and I'll use it anyway. It'll be fine. I've got just an edge flip right there. So, I'm just going to put a piece of repo on that so that when I lay this paper down, that edge is not flipping up and getting caught on my page protectors. And here again, I'm trying to center this top to bottom. It's going all the way to the outside edge. And I do know that I love this piece with a little sailboat on top of that. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that down too. And I'm going to use my repo tape for these little smaller pieces. Now, I'm sure it has something to do with my cuts, or, you know, occasionally the paper is just a little bit missized, but I've got just a little edge right there where the little border piece is not covering all the way out to the end of the orange, but I'm going to be okay with that. And it may be when I start to put these on my refill pages that I find the orange was just a little too long anyway, and I can trim that right off without any problems. Look how pretty that navy is against that. Love it. All right, so for down here, I don't want to make it exactly the same, so I'm just going to add this. Now, I could flip it and put the green, but there's nothing in here that matches that. I think my embellishments probably have a little green, but I feel like that green would take away from the teal and orange I've got going on here. And I'm going to put this one to the outside edge because I have an embellishment I think I'm probably going to use right there. All right, so we've got one side done. Let's go ahead and do our other side. And basically, we're matching the side opposite it, so it's not going to be that hard. So with regular tape on this, and you can use repositionable all the time if you choose to. It doesn't hurt anything. It gives you the ability to move it a little more easily if you change your mind. I just tend to go back and forth. I feel like the regular tape holds more strongly, maybe, but I have customers who use both and don't mind either way. Now, to make these bottom parts even right here, I'm going to flip my paper around like this. And I'm doing that because I want this line to be the same on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and put that little line down with my repo tape. That's one thing I do want to match up. And then I can put this teal piece down. I'm going to flip it back around the right direction. I mean, there's no right or wrong, actually. I could do it the other way and leave it that way, and it would be fine. And I'm going to add my little sunshine. Whoop. Add that with my repositionable in case I need to move it around. And then I'm going to add my little sailboats right on top of that. Okay. Love that contrast we've got going on. So, we've already laid out this page. It's been about 15 minutes from start to finish. But you know me, I want to do a little embellishment. And I want to show you the way that Creative Memories recommended the photo mat. Now, I probably will not stick the photo mats down just yet. But this gives me a good idea of where I might want to place them. Let's see, they did a couple of larger photos here. And look how pretty that navy ties all of it in together. and then a photo here. And, you know, they had the strip over here. Because I didn't like the color, I'm not going to add that. But I could go back and pull one of the mattes from the matte pack and add it for extra color if I felt like I needed some. I don't feel like I need these extra sailboats, and I'm good with that not being there. But I did want to pull a couple of embellishments. And I also pulled a journaling mat. I love this right here. Now, this does have some green on it, so I'm not even sure I'll use that. But I like that journaling mat to go here. So I think I will probably cut that off with my 12-inch trimmer. Although I can't see today. And I could even add this here, and I'll show you why. Because I pulled this embellishment. I absolutely love this this floral with the bird in it. I think that is so pretty. And I'm thinking I might want to lay that embellishment right there on that corner. That means I could scoot everything over a touch. But then I am covering up where the orange didn't meet here. Now, you know me, this embellishment's going to have to be foam squared to pop up. But the good thing about popping it up, too, is the fact that I'll be able to slide my photo right under the edge of that when I get ready to add my pictures. You know what? I think I should probably just go ahead and tape it down. I am going to tape it with my repositionable tape. And I think that will help me to go ahead and do my embellishments too. And these pages, for all practical purposes, will be finished until I add the pictures. And the journaling. You know, journaling is something I don't talk about a whole lot, but it is really important. And it's a good idea to journal at least the who, what, where, when, but sometimes the why behind what's going on too. And I'm going up with this mat. I'm kind of centering it in my space here, but I'm going a little higher with it because I did choose such a large embellishment. Now, when I embellish, I want when I put this down with my foam squares, I'm trying to cover up this little extra orange area right there. But I don't want the embellishment to be stuck to my photo mats here or here. So I'm going to put one of the large foam squares, one of these great big ones, kind of right in the middle here, and then one in the middle here. And because this is not a sticker, I don't have to worry about it laying down too much. So I'm just going to add those two large ones and be done with those embellishments. Now, because we did add in just a little bit of green here, I think this is okay. And I'll probably leave that like that, but I'm not going to stick that just yet because I'm just not sure. I am going to go ahead and stick these photo mats. And I'm using my repositionable tape for that, just in case I decide I want to do something different there. But even if my pictures don't work to cut down this small, I can always overlap them. I do still have space for another photo up there. If I decided not to use these two here, there's another space for a photo there. So this page could actually accommodate lots of pictures. And I do like to use lots of pictures. Probably way too many. I was reading some comments on different people's posts recently, and I saw where some people said they tried to limit one event to like 5 pictures, and you know, one of my events may be 5 pages, but definitely not 5 pictures. But you know, we're all different in the way we scrapbook and what we want to keep, and I want to keep every moment. So to kind of make this side of the page go along with this, there wasn't another embellishment like that, and of course I don't want it exactly matchy-matchy. I've already got words here, so I don't necessarily want more words for embellishments, but I want a little something just to cover up this area right here. And I was looking at this other little bird because it pulls in our colors again, and I could add that right there. But maybe I don't want another bird there. You know, maybe I don't want it to be that matchy. And who knows, I may need some birds on something else. So I love this floral, but there again, I might want to use those floral on something else. So in trying to pick something that will kind of go along with our color scheme we've got going on, The green is here and here, but I don't really want to focus on the green. So I think I'm going to pull one of these cute little turtles and put him right there. Now he kind of blends into my background somewhat, but I'm going to use a couple of foam squares on him. Yeah, it's hard to get him on him. He's kind of tiny in a lot of spots, but I'm going to use a couple of foam squares, and I'm just going to add him right down here. And I like the fact that he pulls in my color scheme. He's cute, but not really too much going on with him. He doesn't really detract from any of the look I've got going on. So I'm calling this page done until I get the pictures on it. And this layout was from the Summertime Project Recipe from Creative Memories. If you have an advisor, she can probably access that for you. If she can't, email to me and tell me you would like the Summertime Project Recipe, and I'll be glad to email that to you. Until next time, happy scrapping.